good afternoon. You're very welcome to game day here on the Sportsman Rugby League. An absolute belter on the cards today from the Betfred Women's Super League. It's Derby Day. It's St Helens versus Wigan here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Should be an absolute cracker. And alongside me is England international Caitlin Beavers. Caitlin, how good is this setting, this game, this fixture in terms of the Women's Super League?
Yeah, well, everyone wants a derby game. Everyone thinks it's the best occasion in the league, so to get these in the season, I think, especially near the beginning, I think is an absolute cracker for, like you said, for the girls. And teams, I think, are definitely going to put on a great show, so I'm really excited. Plenty
of your England teammates are going to be out there today. What can we expect to see from some of the players on show?
From the training that we've been doing, we've been looking really sharp as a team, as an England squad, so I'm expecting a lot of skill, and the amount of defence that we've been doing is absolutely immaculate, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they implement it into the game.
And these two teams have come into the season off the back of obviously a different year and probably slightly different ambitions, but what can we expect to see in terms of how the league table sits and what these two teams look to achieve?
If you look at the league tables, I don't really think that it puts Wigan in the best light. They've got a load of young girls coming through the academy, but they've got a lot of heart and they've got a lot of fire, and I'm hoping that they show that today, and they might shock St Helens a bit. And obviously St Helens have got a lot of silverware behind them, and they're a well-known team in terms of the league tables. So I think it'll be a good show, and I think Wigan will come out pretty hard.
We'll kick off just around the corner in the derby here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. So let's get the thoughts of both head coaches. Well, Matty, you must feel like you live here personally at the moment, but it must be good to get your team back on the home patch today.
It is, yeah. You know, second home game of the season, and yeah, we love playing here. The girls love playing here, and you know, no better game than playing Wigan. Yeah, so yeah, looking forward to it today. I know the girls are.
You can't have needed much extra motivation this week, or have to introduce this fixture to the girls much at all?
No, it's the first game you look for, isn't it, on the calendar, and yeah, Wigan at home, there's no bigger game for us, so we're looking to obviously perform today, build on what we did at Leeds, and you know, I'm sure the girls can do that. We've had a great week of training, so yeah, looking forward to watching them today.
Jodie Cunningham misses out with an injury today. How are you set to adjust to that?
Yeah, Jodie's needs a little bit of a clear out on her knee. You know, it won't be too long, 2 to 3 weeks, I'm told. So yeah, we miss her. You know, she's big for us. She's a big player, but we've got girls that are chomping at the bit to play, and we've got a squad here, and I think there's only probably 28 in the squad. I think we've only not used 2, so far this year. So I said to the girls, before the season started, that if you train well and you play well, you'll get your chance. And there's a couple of girls today getting the chance, and we'll see what they can do.
We've obviously had the run of the Betfred Challenge Cup group stages. How nice is it to get the wheels turning on your league campaign and move towards, the important end of the season?
Yeah, we had a long period of time, didn't we, before in between York and Leeds, and got them. We've got the Challenge Cup games boxed off, and but yeah, you want to get your teeth back into the league, and we want to climb that ladder and do really well in the league as well. So yeah, it's great to, like I say, play at home today, and against Wigan, there's no better team.
How have you found this first 3 or 4 months or so of being a head coach?
Busy, but really enjoying it. To be back at this club and working, with these players who I'm working with, it is a privilege for me, and learning so much as well. But yeah, really enjoying it, and to improve them as much as I can, and just looking for them small improvements myself. So yeah, it's been going well.
And just finally, what are the big things that you're looking for out of your side today?
Just build on what we did last time. Last time we played against Leeds, we were really composed, completed really high, and then we defended in a manner that was aggressive and ruthless. So that's what I want from today. We're playing Wigan. It's a derby game. The girls understand how big it is, for themselves, but for the club, how big it is to get a win today. So I'll be looking for a little bit more than what they did at Leeds.
Well, Chris, after a stop-start season, obviously we've had some Challenge Cup group stages. It must be nice to get out in a really tasty Betfred Women's Super League tie today.
Yeah, I mean, it's been stop-start in terms of the competitions, and they've been changing in that, but we've had continuity in that sense. It was nice to go with the groups in the Challenge Cup, but obviously it's pleasing to get back to league action, and what better way than a derby.
Yeah, it is a derby, of course. We saw the men's version on Friday night. Does that change the messaging or the approach this week?
No, it will never change the message. It's just a big game at the end of the day. It means just as much to both teams and to people from both towns. We're very similar in that sense. It's just about turning up and giving it your absolute best.
And you know you're coming to obviously one of the most established, successful women's sides in the game. Does that change the way that you approach this, or do you just go into it as if it was any other team?
I think there's a realisation that it needs intensity and concentration, but there's not many, if any, easy games in Women's Super League 1. So approach doesn't change in that sense. It's just about concentrating on what we can do and getting the best from us. It's
warm, it's dry. You should be able to play some good football, but at the same time, fitness is going to be a big factor today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful day for playing rugby, and I'm sure most people would much sooner play in these sort of conditions than heavy pitches and rain. That's why the change to summer was made, and hopefully both teams can display some really good play today, and it'll be exciting for any spectators that are here and people watching on TV at home.
Can you give us some insight into what you want to see out of your team today?
Obviously passion. On a derby, you want to turn up with plenty of passion, and we've been doing a lot of work on our defence. I'm hoping we get stuck in defensive terms with them, and I'm sure we will. And then we've obviously got some great talent in our back line. I want to see them get some space and show what they can do.
And are you satisfied that you are seeing progress week in, week out in games and training as well?
Yeah, results have been going well. It's just that consistency, and I think if we put a full 80 minutes together, then you're going to really see that. We've done it in spells. It's about getting that complete performance, and once we're doing that consistently, then we'll be right up there.
Well, best of luck today.
Thank you.
Well, it is a beautiful afternoon here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. It is Derby Day in the Betfred Women's Super League. St Helens against the Wigan Warriors. A 1 o'clock kickoff live here on the Sportsman Rugby League. An absolute pleasure to have you with us for what should be an absolute cracker. We saw, of course, on this very ground Friday night, the men's edition of this derby. St Helens coming out on top in that one. Will it be the same result today? We can have a look at the teams very shortly. St Helens, of course, in the business of looking to regain their Women's Super League title that they lost last year. And they will line up as follows, with Zoe Harris at fullback, Rebecca Rotherham, Ebony Partington, Lucy McComb and Leah Burke make up the backline, with Amy Taylor and Faye Gaskin in the halves. In the forward pack, Pip Burchell, Tara Jones and Shona Hoyle make up the front row. And there's more England internationals in that pack as well, with Paige Travis and Emily Rudge in the second row, and Naomi Williams completing the 13 at loose forward. On the interchange bench, Vicky Whitfield, Megan Williams, Alex Bridge and Katie Mottershead. Give Matty Smith his options from the bench this afternoon. For the Warriors, Berry Sahili, Caitlin Hilton, Eva Hunter, Molly Jones and Anna Davies complete the back line, with Grace Banks and Alison Burrows in at 6 and 7 in that pivot. Holly Speakman, Karis March and Jodie Morris make up the front row, with Victoria Molyneux, Mary Coleman and Rebecca Greenfield making up the rest of the forward pack. On the interchange bench for the Warriors this afternoon, Emma Dwyer, Bethany Hayes, Lucy Johnson and Gabby Lee make up the 17. Well, there's the two teams. I'm Lewis Smith. I'll be talking you through this game this afternoon alongside me, Leeds Rhinos and England international Caitlin Beavers. Caitlin, there's a good, healthy crowd building up. Two good teams on show. Should be a fantastic afternoon in the Betfred Women's Super League.
Yeah, massively. These are the kind of games that you want to play in, and especially at this level, to be able to get the crowds in, I think is absolutely fantastic for the women's game. So I hope they're just as excited as we are.
And when you look at the history of this game, Saints with the upper hand, but Wigan are a team that are constantly progressing and improving.
Yeah, massively. Wigan have quite a few girls in from their academy. They're very good at bringing young talent through, and I think if you look at the team, there's some girls that have made quite a few games now, quite a few appearances, and they're making their position their own, and I think that's fantastic to see. Like you said, Saints have a good name for themselves. They're one of the most dominant teams in the league, and I don't think that should hold Wigan back, though. After watching them warm up, they seemed very fired up, so it looks like it's going to be a good one.
And it doesn't matter if it's men's, women's or people playing in the park. If it's St Helens versus Wigan and it's rugby league, it's got a real significance to it. These two teams, I expect quite a fast first 10 minutes because they should be bouncing off the walls in those changing rooms at the moment. Yeah,
they'll be going around pumping each other up, and I think that's what they need going into this derby. I think the first 10 minutes will be crucial, depending on how each team perform, and especially with the heat, just being up here in the shade, it's lovely and warm. I wouldn't like to play in it today, so I'm very fortunate, but yeah, we'll see which one tires first in regards to the weather.
Yeah, fitness could be a factor this afternoon. You don't have to look very far down that St Helens lineup to see plenty of your England teammates from that World Cup in there. What exactly can you expect some of those players to bring into this game?
If anything, I think the experience could pip Wigan today. From looking at the St Helens side, you've got a handful of players that have played international, and not just a few times, have been regular internationals, and I think that can really help a team out. And I think with Vicky Molyneux for Wigan Warriors, I think that'll be a big help, and Rebecca Greenfield, the next England player, so I think they'll be the people that they're going to be relying on today.
Yeah, there is experience, as you mentioned, in that Wigan side. Vicky Molyneux missed a lot of last season with a pretty nasty injury. Anna Davies, an interesting one out on the wing as well. Plenty of rugby union pedigree in there. Top try scorer for Wigan last season as well. I'll be really excited to see what she can do if she can get some space.
Anna Davies is, I would definitely say, a player that goes under the radar. She is an outstanding centre and second row, and to be quite honest, it's a bit of a pain to play against her when we do, so very interesting to see her as a wing. We'll see how she goes today, and let's hope that it's for the best decision.
Well, the teams are in the tunnel. They'll be coming out very shortly. Great to see a real healthy crowd building up for this derby. A real weekend of derbies, of course, as we mentioned. The men's on Friday, the men's reserves yesterday, and this absolute blockbuster today in the Betfred Women's Super League. Pleasure to have you with us here on the Sportsman Rugby League. Conditions are perfect. It's a hard, fast, dry track, so perfect for Rugby League. Got a great game on our hands. Caitlin, you're injured, of course. You missed a few weeks of this season for your Leeds Rhinos team. How much jealousy are you looking on with these players today?
Oh, jealousy in abundance, unfortunately. Yeah, I've unfortunately spent quite a few weekends out with a shoulder injury, but hoping to be back very soon, and yeah, eyeing up the competition.
Well, fantastic to have you on board with us today here on the Sportsman as we await the two sides. What can we expect from St Helens? We saw obviously that treble winning side. They got pegged back a little bit last year with a resurgent Leeds and York really coming into the fold. What kind of statement do you think they'll be looking to make today?
I think they'll be making a massive statement. I think the loss against York was a big dint for them. I don't think they took that lightly, and if you look at the Saints squad, you've got Leah Burke that just sets off immaculately with returns from kicks, and you've got the likes of Shona Hoyle starting, and I think that's a great advantage. With Vicky Whitfield coming off the bench, that just sends any team quivering. So yeah, I think especially in this heat, Vicky Whitfield could cause quite a bit of damage.
Well, a big loss today for Saints is the absence, of course, of England captain Jodie Cunningham. She's out with a knee injury. As we see the teams ready to take the field. Fantastic reception. Emily Rudge and Vicky Molyneux leading out the two sides on this glorious afternoon here in St Helens. Betfred Women's Super League action, Derby Day here on the Sportsman. the two teams line up in front of us here in this main stand at the Totally Wicked. What have we got in store for us this afternoon? Mouth-watering tie. Referee gets the formalities out of the way, and we are moments away from kick-off. In these big games, these derby games, how important is this opening couple of sets, and especially that first carry?
I think especially in this weather, if you put down a good platform in the first 10 minutes, I think it'll be hard for any team to come back for. So definitely as a spectator for this one, I'm definitely having a look at the first 10 minutes and how each team go about it.
Well, Josh Pemberton is our referee. Wigan in their all dark kind of navy blue alternative strip will kick us off from right to left. Saints, of course, in that iconic white shirt with the red V, will receive this kickoff. And it's Alison Barrow who gets us underway. So here we go. Straight away, ball is allowed to bounce. But Leah Burke picks up. She will take in that first carry. She's met well by the Wigan defence.
Yeah, I don't think that's how Saints would have liked to start. Not immediately being put on the front foot, but Emily Rudge there has just found a front, so seems like they can get the ball rolling again. And
you mentioned that experience when we were building up to this game. When little things like that don't go your way, how useful is it having those players with all the experience of the world to just get you back on track? Yeah,
I think having Leah there, she's a very reliable player, so knowing that she's there, she'll probably get the platform going again, even though it was knocked pretty early on. But yeah, you've got the experienced players getting quick play of the balls, and the set comes back to them with a good kick in the corner.
Gaskin turning Sahili around with that kick slightly earlier on in the set. I think that was only fourth. St Helens happy to let Wigan to have some of the football, and we can see what Wigan offer up in these early sets. So Wigan with the ball. 35 metres on the row line, and there's Anna Davies. We've mentioned her before, and straight away making an impact, getting a half break, getting her side over the halfway line, so immediately a glimpse of what she can do.
3 players in and still managed to stay on her feet for the majority of the tackle, and I think just by that run you can tell what she's about.
It was a quick play the ball, but maybe slightly too quick. Yeah, it's Rebecca Greenfield who comes up with the error, playing loose forward today in that blue scrum cap.
Yeah,
Becky's for St Helens.
Becky's a natural fullback and been playing wing this season, so to have her at a loose forward I think is very interesting, but her defence is good enough, so we'll see how she goes.
And those errors could make a massive difference in this game. We've mentioned the heat, fitness will come into it. You don't want to be doing too much defending today, do you?
Absolutely not. I think in the first few tackles, to say Wigan started in their own 20, that from that run by Anna Davies, they managed to get it pretty far out, and it's unfortunate that error was made, but now it's all about the defence here, and they've already put them on the back foot.
Well, the ball comes loose. Referee says that it goes backwards. Leah Burke cleans up and plays the ball. Big carry early on. We expected plenty of blood and thunder in his opening 10 minutes. It's been a pretty intense start. Line speed's been good from both sides, as you'd expect. Be interesting to see who can keep that intensity up for the longest, Kate.
Yeah, absolutely. The marker work I've noticed by Wigan is very quick, and that's what you're going to need in these games.
So Tara Jones at dummy half. One of those England contingent from the World Cup in this squad. And a half break there.
Shona Hoyle, pure strength.
Gaskin brings it up to the line. Little drop-off ball. St Helens now on 5th tackle, but they're in reasonable field position, about 22, 23 metres out from that Wigan line. And they come out to the left. And a big kick high into the air from Amy Taylor.
Oh, brilliant take.
I think that's Sahili safe under that high ball. So a feather in the cap for Wigan there, seeing out that set after the error. And an opportunity again for them to build themselves back into this game. And a breakthrough there. And Zoe Harris at fullback. Can't keep up with her. Fantastic feet. And a brilliant break early on in the set.
Needs a quick play of the ball, and she does. Still players retreating. Good work by marker.
Eva Hunter that was, jinking her way through that St Helens line, and that'll be a real confidence boost for Wigan. a couple of occasions now. They've managed to find some space and get plays through the gap, but they're met. Big defence coming in from Saints. Paige Travis
forcing an error.
Getting stuck in and forcing another error.
I think these little runs that we're going to managing to get away with, I think, are absolutely fantastic. It shows the amount of speed and skill that they have on show. They just need to be able to keep possession now, and I think that they'll be ending up in Saints' half very quickly. Yeah,
it's been a strange opening 4 or 5 minutes of the game in some respects, because, as you say, we're going to take a lot of confidence from some of the breaks they've been able to make and some of the space they've found, but they've let themselves down with errors, giving St Helens field position again. So Zoe Harris coming in for a fullback, and that's Partington at centre, just getting free. I think she thought about the offload for a second, but managed to decided to keep the ball in hand, and Rotherham will play it to Harris from dummy half. Again, Shona Hoyle. And that is what she'll do all afternoon. We saw it, of course, with England at the World Cup and with St Helens throughout the Betfred Women's Super League and Challenge Cup campaign so far. And now they shape out to this left-hand side. Rudge taking it just short of the 40-metre line. And St Helens straight away using the threat on both edges.
Yeah, they've got good hands, they've got great skill on show, and I think the majority of their players can shift that ball pretty wide, so they've got the skill in abundance. It's how they use it, and I think that so far they're doing it pretty well.
So Jones to Gaskin. Gaskin brings Harris into the line. Partington trying to run well, but the defence holding firm.
Fifth and last.
So what can they do with this last tackle option? Oh, and there's an error, and there could be an opportunity here. Leah Burke doesn't need much space, but she is shut down in the end by that Wigan defence. But a repeat set right on that Wigan goal line for Saints.
Oh, that's no good.
We'll just break. Leah Burke is down, holding her knee. Physios are on. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It'd be a real shame if we lost one of the real superstars of this team in the league early on in this fixture.
Absolutely. Fantastic kick pressure there. I think Saints will keep using that side. As we've mentioned, Leah's a very, very high skilled player, and she'll usually finish them every day of the week, so I think they'll utilise that side the majority of the game.
Physio's still down there with her. Looks like she's getting to her feet though, so hopefully it's something that she will just be able to shake off and get back into the game. Thumbs up. Well, she's been taken over to the sideline.
Oh, that's a big loss for the Saints.
And she's gone down again here. This isn't good. St Helens being forced into an early change that they wouldn't have wanted to make. Leah Burke being helped off round the side of the field. We hope that isn't as serious as it looks. It's going to be Katie Mottershead, her replacement with the grey scrum cap. But a real shame early on in this game to lose one of the blockbuster players. What will be the response from St Helens here? Because obviously losing a key player early on, you know, a real knock for them, Caitlin. How do they go about just restoring a little bit of perspective and calm in this?
By looking at it, they've put Katie Mottershead on and put Tara Jones near an edge, so that would be very interesting to see. Tara, that's a natural 9 and plays 9 for England as well, so it'd be interesting to see how she goes on the edges. Well,
Wigan's defence holding up well there on the goal line, but they've still got some tackles to see out for the time being. St Helens keeping it near the line, but Mottershead, she's just come on, and I thought for a second there she was going to dart through and score the opening try of the game. Just cut short, but they come over to the right-hand side. Gaskin, Harris, can they force the numbers? Harris doesn't need them. A brilliant show and go, and she's over on the right-hand side for the first try of the game. And Zoe Harris, as that number 6 suggests, very comfortable normally in that full-back position, but using all of her skill there to get herself through and over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think putting Zoe there originally, I did very quickly question, but having an extra pair of hands there, and like you've mentioned, she's a fantastic six, and she can put people in the corners for fun, but also you don't fall for that dummy. She's got a very convincing dummy, and as you say, just slices through the defence right there. And
when you've got an edge of Rotherham and Partington, you'll know this yourself as an outside back, it forces those defenders into making a decision, doesn't it? And a little bit of uncertainty of what to do. And Zoe Harris cut straight through. Yeah, absolutely. The strength on that edge is very good. So it makes the defenders question and definitely over-exert to that edge and puts Zoe straight through the gap. So St Helens out to what is probably a deserved 4-point lead in the opening 8 minutes of this game. And it will stay at 4 points as Amy Taylor pushes the kick just to the left-hand side of the post. What will that message be in that Wigan huddle at the moment? Because they have shown some bright sparks. They've managed to find some space and some gaps in that St Helens line, but a couple of errors is essentially what's put them under their sticks here.
Yeah, I think the defence by Wigan has actually been really good. They've worked real hard to get off the line and shut down plays. They've been getting 3 players in tackles to slow down the play of the ball from Saints, because with the halves that they have, they're very confident. They'll shoot and they'll take the markers out, and I think they've been very good in slowing it down and controlling the ruck. They just need to keep control of the possession, and I think they'll be able to get back into this game.
Some shots there of Leah Burt receiving some treatment on the sideline. She's pointing towards her knee with the doctor. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a knock and she'll be back on her feet soon. But interesting to see how Saints manage having to have to reshuffle their hand, so to speak. Have the ball here on the 30-metre line. And it's Katie Mottershead on in place of Burke, who plays the ball.
Naomi Williams taking a strong carry, another player that's naturally a back and playing in the loose forward position today. So it'd be interesting to see how she goes on.
And we spoke about this before the game. There's a lot of, I mean, you only have to look at the shirt numbers to see that there's a lot of players who are perhaps playing in positions that aren't their primary role for Saints, but in a lot of ways that just shows the versatility and the testament to the squad, isn't it?
Yeah, like you said, it shows versatility, and if you've got players that can play multiple positions, it's actually a lot better for your team. You need people to be able to understand the game and understand their role, and if people are willing to do that and do a good job of it, then it's fantastic for the team and the club.
Well, Rudge with a strong carry, and then Amy Taylor doing really well to keep hold of that ball, puts a big kick up. So Healy unable to take it cleanly first time of asking, but it went backwards. She does a reasonable job of cleaning up and carrying back over the 10-metre line. So an opportunity here for Wigan to just establish themselves back in this arm wrestle.
Yeah, this is where you need your...
And a penalty will help for a high shot. Yeah,
this is where you need your backs to get you out of trouble and put themselves in those vulnerable positions where that can happen. Quick play of the balls and quick to get out, making some metres.
So Alison Burrows puts the ball into touch. We're going to be grateful for the 3 yards on that set. Opportunity to start again. We've got a couple of players down here, one from either side. Looks like Pip Birchall just receiving a little bit of treatment to her hand. I'm not sure who that is down in the Wigan shirt, but she's back up on her feet.
Caitlin, by the looks of it.
Yeah, Caitlin Hilton over on that right edge. Both players, thankfully, back up to their feet and back in with their teammates in the line. So we're good to go again. Referee just waiting for the physios and trainers to clear, and we're back underway. So an opportunity now for Wigan to hit back after that early St Helens try. Probably their best field position of the game. An opportunity to try and establish themselves in the St Helens half. To come out to this right edge with Caris Marsh. Already she's looked really lively around the ruck and looking to get on the front foot. Yeah,
Caris is a very clever 9. She's very good at recognising her opportunities, and she doesn't have to take them in abundance, so she's a big part of Wigan's squad.
Well, Wigan camped right on that right edge, and they've pulled the line all the way across the field, so they've got the option of width if they choose to use it, keeping in the middle for the time being, and this is the 5th. So what will they do here? High kick goes up from Banks, I think it was, and Zoe Harris in the end does a really nice job of pulling that in, and a knock on, and what an opportunity this is for Wigan. A real gift from Zoe Harris after scoring the try. She's put her teammates under some pressure here. About 10 metres out. They're going to take the scrum from underneath the 6 as well.
Wigan have to take advantage of this opportunity now. They've, I think this is actually one of the first times they've managed to get in St Helens half. So if they can utilise this opportunity, I think it'll be a big advantage for them leading into the rest of the game.
Well, we've seen them have some joy, haven't we, in yardage sets with a few half breaks and making some space. So they'll be really looking forward to this opportunity to put the Saints defence under some real pressure on their own line. And Sahili refusing to go down. Some really good footwork. She stopped just short. What a fantastic platform this is as they go to that skinny side. Again, Jodie Morris this time stopped short. This time they go out to the right. Greenfield. Burrows just takes the tackle 7 or 8 metres away underneath the sticks. And they've got some space out to the right hand side. Still, the ball is live. And they're stopped. I think this is 4th. And again, they come to the skinny side. Overlap on if they can make the most of it. Really good defence from St Helens. And this is the last. So what can Wigan do with this 5th tackle option? The kick goes through. In the end, it's well taken, but the defence is really good. And I think they've forced another repeat set here. They have. It's going to be a goal line dropout. And obviously, Wigan would have wanted to come away with some points, but that's the next best thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Those are the type of turning points in a game which teams look for. The defence there were absolutely outstanding. That's what you hope for in a team, togetherness and just the desire to win the ball back. It's not often you get those opportunities with teams like St Helens, so they did fantastic to utilise that.
Well, it was Paige Travis who was forced back over her own line, but there wasn't much that she could have done there. That kick pressure from that kick chase from the Wigan back line, absolutely superb.
You see Faye there having a word with Zoe. I don't think she should let that knock on get to her. I think she's been fantastic at fullback. To say it's not a primary position, so we'll see how she goes for the rest of the game. Fantastic to see Faye Gaskin back playing, by the way. I suffered that horrendous knee injury in that Challenge Cup final a few years ago. Great to see her back out in that St Helens shirt. She's done commentary for us a few times here at the Sportsman. Brilliant to see her out where she belongs on the rugby league field. Yeah. But her job here is to try and get this ball as far down the field as possible, this goal line dropout. Which I have no doubt she will. She's got a very good boot on her as Faye. Yeah, and it is a really good dropout. Wigan will be starting from pretty much inside their own half here. But in the end, it's a pretty decent return. Mary Coleman on that occasion. They needed that kind of return. I think with the ball bobbling as much as it was, it didn't have the best start to the set, so hopefully they can pull it back now with some great meters. Interesting early on when we've had a look at these Wigan good ball sets, they seem to be really favouring the short side, stacking the numbers and looking to put people under pressure. Well, if you look at who they have in the second rows, I think that's probably why. Second rows and centres, they've got a lot of strength in the back line, so they'll be trying to utilise that and get over in the edges. Karis Marsh nearly got a nose through the line there. She was cut down, but they come over to the left-hand side. Greenfield brings it up to the line. And in the end, there was probably just a little bit too much on the pass, and it pops out. And St Helens survive. Interesting to see the type of position that Becky's playing. Like we mentioned earlier, she's a natural back. So to see her playing 13, and she's actually playing a ball playing 13, which is very interesting. It shows that the skill that she has naturally. I think it's great to see. She seems to have given some licence as well to kind of pop up throughout the back line. We've seen her in different phases of the play already. Yeah, well, to be fair, the loose forward position is the full. I've always said it's the full back of the line, and I've absolutely loved playing it in the past. And this is probably ideal for her, and just for her to float around the ruck. And if there is any breaks like there has been, to make sure that she's on the end of them if the full back's not there. So you've got multiple options. I think it's Emily Rudge down now receiving some treatment.
It's been a very intense first 16-17 minutes of this game. We've already seen some of the players out in the wars, as you'd expect from St Helens versus Wigan. This game means a lot, and we've mentioned it a few times. I don't want to keep talking about the weather, but it is very warm here, so any opportunity to get the drinks on, I'm sure they're going to take. Oh, I think she just gets a stray boot to the face there. Looks like she's all right. She's staying on by the looks of it, which is good to see. So St Helens will start with the ball underneath their own sticks, 10 metres out. And even though Wigan didn't get over the line there, they can take real heart from the fact that they've had a spell of possession camped out on the St Helens line. Yeah,
they've had quite a lot of time in the St Helens half actually within their 20. So they should take the positives out of that. And yeah, unfortunately they made an error, but they've managed to get down this side of the field, and hopefully they can keep them here. So it's a long kick to retrieve.
For Shona Hoyle, immediately getting Saints out of their own real estate for a really good carry. Come up to their own 40-metre line. Waters' head has gone in at 9. Yeah, and that'll be a really interesting factor of this game, won't it? The line speed. It started off red hot from both teams as we expected, but it's going to be who can maintain that. As Gaskin goes for the kick, and the bounce comes back inside, so Sahili will pick up for the Wigan Warriors. Just a hint there of maybe the 40-20 was on. I'm not sure if she was quite over the line, but the bounce quite favourable in the end for Wigan. And they will start with the ball on their own 20.
If anybody's going to do it in the league, it's going to be Faye. She's got an absolute fantastic boot, and that's the carries that you need coming out your own half from your backs.
Yeah, Anna Davies, we've mentioned her a couple of times already. Rugby union convert, signed from Bath. And we've seen all of those hard ball carrying credentials that we expected from her early on.
Oh, what a line.
Sahili getting involved from fullback. Wigan with the ball on the halfway line. Marsh at hooker. Waiting, and they come back in on the inside, almost Sulphur a Devil style that. Saints deal with it on this occasion, and this will be the last. So the ball goes up high, and a tricky one for Partington to deal with, but she does really well. And now she'll look to see if she can make advantage of the slightly broken Wigan line. Ducking and diving for a few tackles, cut short in the end, just short of the halfway line. Mottershead will play the ball over to the right-hand side. And that's Paige Travis taking the carry.
Yeah, Paige is a very strong runner, and as you can all probably see, her handoff is very dangerous, so it makes defenders needing to get low and make sure they get those legs tackles, otherwise it's not going to be nice, not going to be pretty.
So St Helens, having weathered a little bit of a storm, now get the bonus of a penalty. Offside from Wigan, and when you've had a good spell in the game, frustrating to see a side almost compound all of that with errors and penalties.
Yeah, this really isn't what Wigan wanted. They were on the front foot down in the Saints half for quite a spell, so to give them a free invitation back into their half with something that's just a silly error, I don't think they'll be very happy.
Well, we're about 20 minutes into this game already. Even with the stoppages, it's absolutely flown by. Saints leading by just that one solitary Zoe Harris try. Looking to add to that here, Mottershead at the play of the ball.
Here we are, Vicky Witt making an appearance on the field.
So stopped just short. Mottershead comes over to the right-hand side to Gaskin. Gaskin, short crash ball. I think she's over. I think it's Shona Hoyle who's muscled her way through, is it?
Yeah.
It is. And in the end, having looked left and right, it was just a short crash ball to Hoyle. A brilliant line, as you'd expect from her. Powering her way over. St Helens double their lead.
Shona's one of the fittest, strongest, fastest forwards we have in the league, and to play alongside her at England, it's a great attribute to have to the team, and to stop her from that range is almost impossible, so I'm not surprised that she scored it.
It's a really well-timed move, that. Gaskin with just the short tip-off ball, and Hoyle, actually, you may have been expecting one of the second rows to be the person taking that carry in, but she's hit the line beautifully. and just hits the defender and manages to roll over and get that arm free to ground the ball.
She's got a lot of experience in the game, as shown us. So the other week she played second row against Leeds and caused a lot of damage. So interesting to see her being put back in the forwards, but still doing an excellent job.
Well, Amy Taylor, no mistake this time with the conversion, tapping the 2 over. And with 22 minutes or so on the clock in this game, St Helens will be pretty satisfied with the way that the scoreboard looks. Wigan have not made it easy for them at all. But St Helens in control.
There's positives for Wigan to look at this. The only way is really St Helens have managed to get into their half is just silly errors or stupid penalties. So the defence that they've been doing has been absolutely great, getting numbers in, slowing it down, and probably putting winding Saints up a bit. They love a fast ruck, so they need to take this into the rest of the game.
And of course, you have to have the ball to be able to score, and Wigan will just be hoping for a spell where they can get some possession, a few sets where they can start to bring Anna Davies and Molly Jones and players like that into the game a little bit more. Yeah,
definitely, and that'll come with more kick returns. I think the Wigan really need to start taking the ball on the full, and once they do that, then they're already on the front foot, and they've got the backs to be able to get downfield. They've already demonstrated that. So
well, Hoyle again making some headway. Pass doesn't go to hand, but Ebony Partington there to tidy up. Motter's head comes out to Gaskin. Now they look to exploit some space over on the left-hand side. Gaskin decides to go herself in the end. Half gap. She was almost through it. The Wigan defence responded well. And again, they come to this left-hand side. It'll be interesting to see how that left edge for Saints operates now, with obviously Leah Burt the focal point of it on the sideline. Zoe Harris coming in from full-back and putting a really high kick up. Anna Davies does really well underneath it. And a typically strong carry from her up to the 30-metre line.
Quick play of the ball.
That feels, based on the first 23 minutes of this game, that feels where Wigan are going to have the joy, is that three-quarter line and those outside backs.
Yeah, like I mentioned, the skill that they have on show. I've seen some fantastic feet in terms of steps, and they've got the strength in Anna Davies to get them out. I think they need to utilise that more in the get-out sets, give their forwards a bit of a rest on this hot day. I'm sure they'll thank them for it.
Well, a good carry from Molyneux up to the 40-metre line, and a really smart little jolt in from the play of the ball, Caris Marsh.
Great tackle by Emily Rudge.
Marsh brings us out to the right-hand side. This is the last, so the kick goes up. It's a short one.
Oh.
It's taken in, but the St Helens defence on hand to just diffuse that situation, and they will start with the ball inside their own 20. But Wigan will be pretty pleased with the way that set kind of played out, and the fact that they were able to complete and turn the Saints defence around. Yeah, they're managing
to turn over possession in Saints' half, so there's positives to take out of this. It's just whether the line speed's good enough to keep them here or to force an error.
So Motter's head feeds Pip Birchall, who brings the ball up to the 30-metre line. St Helens with options left and right here, pretty much in the middle of the park. Just slow play the ball, so it'll come out to the right-hand side, and Harris will feed Ebony Partington, getting herself away and almost through the line. Just scragged back there. But St Helens looking to get a little bit of a roll on here. They come over to the left. Rudge times the pass really well and finds Tara Jones. Jones playing in that slightly unfamiliar position out on that left edge. She feeds it back to Rudge. Still going. Eventually brought down on the 40-metre line.
That's probably another reason as to why Wigan are targeting Saints' left edge. Tara's a natural hooker, and playing on the edge might sound a bit biased of me with being a back, but it is a hard position to play and to mark up and pull out, so maybe they're just trying to test Tara in a new position.
Well, a really nice kick from Faye Gaskin there, turning that Wigan defence around, and I think both teams probably grateful for the opportunity to just take a deep breath, get some water in, get this game up and running. Hey, it's been really felt like a really fast first 25, 26 minutes of this game. Both teams have clearly come out with the intention of starting well. And you know, Wigan are not a million miles away here, are they?
No, I'm actually really impressed by Wigan. I think the main positive for Wigan is the ruck control. They're managing to get Saints on the back most of the time and getting numbers in the tackles, so the slow rucks. And for, like I said, for weather like this and for such a dominant and quick team such as Saints, this is going to really wind them up. So this will go in Wigan's favour.
So 10-0 here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. If you are just joining us, tries from Zoe Harris and Shona Hoyle have put the Saints in front. Wigan now looking to respond. Looking to the ref, but nothing given. And again, the ball goes to Anna Davies, and again, she does a really good job of just making 10 or 11 important yards.
Good meters there to say that she was met by Shona Hoyle and Vicky Whitfield. I'm sure she'll be very proud of that. Again, that Saints defensive line up very quickly, and Gaskin this time making a tackle on Greenfield. So they look to restrict the meters, but a penalty. Silly
just
error.
Too keen, too fast this time, and a real gift quite late on in the set, and an opportunity for Wigan to clear the lines. So they come up just short of halfway. This is what Wigan needs. They need to start utilising this opportunity now and potentially having those little breaks that they had in the first quarter. So what can Wigan do with the opportunity given to them through the penalty? Starting the set fantastically with Vicky Molyneux, such an experienced head. Such a big thing, isn't it, when you can call on players like that in games like these to just lead the way for the rest of the side. Yeah, massively. To play alongside her, she's number 3 in the heritage number for England, so she's got a lot of experience behind her. For 28 metres out, and they come over to the right-hand side. St Helens' defence has been fairly impressive in their own half zone so far, but as you say, a quick play of the ball. Now Greenfield looking to suck a few defenders in and create some space. In the end, the response is pretty good from Saints, and this is the last. Can Wigan force something out of this? Even if it was a repeat set, that would be a real win for them. But they come back on the inside. Just for a second there, it looked like the space was opening up. It's not a bad place to turn over. Emma Dwyer, who's come on at hooker, looking really lively. And as you say, Caitlin, that's as good a place as any to give the ball up. Yeah, massively. They've just got to keep the line speed up here and hopefully keep them in their half, and they'll be hoping for a deep kick, will Saints. So Zoe Harris shapes the pass but keeps it herself, met by the Wigan defence, 12 metres out from the St Helens line. This feels like an important set in a lot of ways. Wigan really looking to pin Saints in, but straight away Rotherham ducking and diving left and right, making some decent yards. Yeah, it's an interesting change from Rotherham as well. She's been the club's fullback for a fair few years, so to change to put her on the wing, to put Zoe at fullback, yeah, to put half at fullback I think is very interesting, but I think she's doing a fantastic job, and they both are. So a good yardage set in the end from Saints to get them out from underneath their own sticks. They come over to the left-hand side. Rudge bringing it into the line. Met well by the Wigan defence, and this will be the last. And Wigan actually will be pretty happy with where Saints are playing this ball from on the 5th. Yeah, massively. They just need to take this ball on the full now, which they do. Davies just does. Hopefully kick return. Just that. And immediately looking to get a team on the front foot, looking for that quick play of the ball. It's not bad. So what can Wigan do? They're building themselves into this game nicely now. Since that penalty 3 or 4 sets ago, they'll feel like they've had a real good crack at this St Helens line. Now they come out to that right-hand side again, and that inside ball they've looked for a few times, and it's had some success. And they catch Saints in broken play there, and that's Emma Dwyer on at hooker, taken down on the 35-metre line. Seems the forwards are starting to tire a bit for Saints, and the gaps are finally opening. There could be some space over on this left if they can get Davies free. She goes herself. She goes herself in the end. I think that was the right option.
Fifth and last.
Molly Jones brought down. So on the fifth, they come out to the right.
Ooh.
It's a very sideways kick in the end. It might end up working not too badly for Wigan. But actually, that's Saints' defence right up on top of them. And a slightly uncoordinated end to that set in the end.
Yeah, that's not the way they all wanted to end that. They all wanted a kick to the corner, but by the looks of it, they didn't know it would fit, and hoping that everyone would just pass it down the line to one of the halves. Again, not a bad place to turn it over. They just need to make sure they keep them here or force an error.
So Mottershead from play the ball. And Saints will not be too disheartened for the last 10 minutes. They've not had too much of the ball, but they've kept it under control defensively and ultimately still have that 10-point lead.
Yeah, whenever they've managed to get in Wigan's half, they've usually taken advantage of the opportunity and managed to get some points on the board, unlike Wigan. But yeah.
Well, really nice that in the end by Gaskin. She was under some pressure, just managed to find that ball back on the inside. Get herself out of jail a little bit, and now Harris brings it over to the right-hand side. Travis almost getting herself free, just cut down, and this will be the last on the 40-metre line. And again, a bit of feather in the cap for Wigan there in terms of the arm wrestle. St Helens were ending these sets on the Wigan 20, 15-metre line. The last couple, they've been all the way back on the 40.
Yeah, I think we just need to see how she takes this ball out, and that link up was just what they needed after taking the ball.
Now then, they're free on the right-hand side. This could be one of the tries of the season.
Here we
she's
go.
Bolted. She's gone all the way. And what a try that is. Caitlin Hilton, coast to coast, all the way from Wigan. And a brilliant response, and you have to say, based on the last 10 minutes or so of this game, a deserved try.
That's just what Wigan needed. The backs have actually been really impressive in terms of getting them out, and the get-out sets on Wigan's part have been well enough to get them in their Saints half every set. So,
I beg your pardon, it was Grace Banks, sorry.
An absolutely fantastic link-up.
So Healy does really well here, just engaging that line, shapes out to the edge a little bit. It's Jones who shoots out, and then this is just all speed. And Grace Banks. Zoe Harris isn't slow. She couldn't get anywhere near it. Gaskin couldn't get anywhere near it. And it's game on now.
Just what Wigan needed this close to half-time. I'm sure this will lift spirits and show them that there's so many positives to take out of this half.
So an opportunity to cut the deficit further. So Burrows puts it wide to the left-hand side. But 4 points on the board, and perhaps more significantly, a real confidence boost for Wigan.
Like I said, I think that's exactly what Wigan needed going into half-time. They needed some points on the board to basically give them the reward for their efforts. I think they've been absolutely fantastic so far. Just some silly errors that's let them down, but apart from that, they should take a lot of positives out of this half.
Just to update you on Leah Burke's injury, she's got some ice on her left knee. They're going to give her one last chance at half-time. The doctor's going to have a look, but I think the consensus at the moment is that she's unlikely to return this afternoon. And it would have been her over on that left edge who would have been responsible for defending that. And as we've said, a real sickener for Wigan. After getting themselves on the scoreboard and right back in the game, an error from the kickoff, and Saints with the opportunity to undo all of that good work from Wigan.
Yeah, that's definitely not what they needed straight after a try. A lot of hard work's needed to go into this set now. And that's the danger that Vicky Whitfield proposes. I think about.
Well, there's going to be a penalty here as well. Just a lot of mess around the play of the ball. Whitfield, as you said, Caitlin, with the carry, causing some problems. And now St Helens looking to hit straight back after conceding. think that's Hannah Roberts playing the ball, and Mottershead brings us out to the right-hand side.
Got a lot of space
Gaskin
on this edge.
Numbers on the right. Harris drops it off to Partington. Partington looking to force her way over. I think she's been held up. Brilliant work in the end
Tackle
from the Wigan defence, but the danger isn't gone. St Helens come out to the left. Gaskin dropping the ball off to Naomi Williams. She stopped 8 metres short, and again they come to this right-hand side. Harris with a long ball out to the right to Rotherham, and Davies does really well. It's going to come back, I think, as a St Helens ball, but a really good defensive read from Anna Davies to shut that down on the spot.
Yeah, and that comes from playing centre, knowing her, reading the game and being able to make those kind of reads, and it's unfortunate on the outcome there.
Well, a repeat set then for St Helens. As we approach the last few minutes of what's been a really entertaining first half here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Megan Williams bringing the ball up to the line. Shot down 5 metres short. There are numbers on that left, and that is where Saints will go. A long raking ball out. It could be in here. It should be in here. I think Tara Jones has done enough.
The try has been given.
And the try is awarded. Just for a second there, it looked as if the Wigan defence had got across, but she's managed to get the ball down before being taken out into touch. Saints hit back after conceding. Tara Jones, spoken about her playing out of position. She looked pretty natural there.
That's a threat that Saints causes. They're very, very good at managing to get the ball out. Oh, good try.
Yeah, it's a really good defensive effort from Grace Banks. But ultimately, she was just left with too much to do as they look to shift out to that right-hand side. And Tara Jones just managing. It's a really good finish in the end, isn't it?
Very impressive finish. Wow. That couldn't have been comfortable.
No, it looked tight. Suspicion of maybe that boot just being out. But the touch judge and the referee happy with it on the spot, so the try is given. The kick falls short, so the lead remains at 10 points. St Helens 14, Wigan 4. We'll have a look at this try again. Just have a look at that. Boot is up in the air. It's tight. I'm glad I'm not the one who was making that decision. But the decision was a try, and a sucker punch that for Wigan after getting themselves back into the game.
Yeah, the spirits don't seem too low, to be honest. Just seeing them jogging up to halfway, and that's a good message to send out to the opposition that they haven't been damaged by that, and hopefully they can make a comeback.
So not long left in this first half. Saints will be pretty happy with the work so far. 14 points to 4 up in the derby. Always a nice place to be, but obviously a lot of rugby league still to be played. Wigan, they won't be too disheartened with what they've done in this half as well, but you get the sense here that they probably just want to get into the sheds at this stage.
Yeah, this close to half-time, especially with the heat, I think a good talk with the coaches and along with the girls. I think it's nice to know what each other want and need. So,
Harris could be through here. She's just stepped. She had Mottershead there to her left. She decided to keep it to herself.
And that's the dummy that we were talking about earlier.
And they've got tackles on the bag. But an error, a knock-on, lets Wigan off the hook after all that good work from Harris. Naomi Williams coming up with the error. So Wigan survive on this occasion. And they'll just be looking to see the rest of this first half out at this point. Wigan
will be taking a big sigh of relief there. An unnatural error from Naomi Williams, but gives Wigan the advantage back.
That dummy is so useful, isn't it? So difficult to see coming from Zoe Harris. It catches people out time and time again. You can completely understand the logic of having her coming into the line at fullback.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with her being such an influential playing fullback, I think is a big reason why they probably did it. The fact that she can make those kind of passes makes the dummy easier to fall for, which massively goes in their favour. Being
coached this year, of course, by Matty Smith, St Helens. Man who knows a thing or two about playing in these games, and certainly about how to get the halfbacks to work. It feels like he might just be onto something with this kind of pivot spine that he's put together. What can Wigan do? Not long left in this half. That clock on your screen is just a guide. So we're not 100% sure of exactly how long's left. There has been some stoppages in this game. Injury to Leah Burke, taking a couple of minutes out of the clock. And this is the 5th and last. Greenfield under pressure, but does get the kick away.
Decent kick. Needs just a bit of a better chase to be able to catch her in flight.
So Saints perhaps with one last opportunity.
A lovely slow ruck. That'll help Wigan out in abundance.
Emily Rudge makes the carry just short of the 40-metre line over on that left-hand side. Not seen too much of Rudge in this game, but we know the quality she possesses. I'm sure she'll grow into that second half. Yeah,
Emily's a player that's just consistent, and a lot of the time goes unnoticed due to just consistent efforts. And
yeah, a bit of miscommunication there, but Williams is there to clean up. She brings it up to the halfway line.
Good ruck control again. They've got a lot of shape out on this right edge. You can see Faye Gaskin lining them all up, telling them what she wants. So
and they do come to the right. Harris bringing Paige Travis into the game. Wigan's defence struggling to shut her down, but they do in the end, and this is the 5th. So the kick will come the other side of the 40-metre line. I think they're going to go for it. They are. Probably not the right option in the end. The execution wasn't there. And that will be that for the first half then. St Helens 14, Wigan 4, as we just see that last play of the half breaking down. It's probably the right idea, but just didn't quite have the execution.
Yeah, I think if the execution were there, that would have been a very dangerous play against Wigan. And I think they'd have probably had a lot of questions to be answered for.
So 14 points to 4, Saints lead at the break. And the scoreboard, probably a fair reflection on the game so far, but plenty to be positive about in this half-time team talk from a Wigan perspective as well.
Yeah, I think that's been a fantastic first half from both teams. I think you can really tell the amount of work that Wigan have put into their ruck control, and defence wins games at the end of the day. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the second half comes up with.
So there is the scoreboard at the turn. 40 minutes to go, but at the moment St Helens in control with that 14 points to 4 lead. And this is how they got the wheels turning. Zoe Harris shaping to pass to Partington, throwing the dummy, and a really clever try.
Just Zoe doing what Zoe does best.
And we've seen her, obviously, as we've mentioned a couple of times, usually in the halves playing fullback today, but looks really, really effective. And then this, almost the other side of the coin, they've come to that right edge again. They've got the threat of the outside backs, but it's just Shona Hoyle on a crash line going over.
I think once you've had Vicky Whitfield taking the first carry and Shona taking the next, I think it's always going to be hard to defend. Vicky Whitfield, as we saw a few times in the game, took multiple defenders out of the line. So to be able to put Shona on the back of that, try.
Wigan grew back into the game almost from that try onwards, and then this moment of absolute brilliance from the Warriors. Sahili on the kick return, and then Grace Banks, just pace.
Yeah, and this was a fantastic, I'd say solo effort, but it was a great vision from the fullback Sahili, but just a fantastic finish. The afterburners were on.
Fantastic scenes as well. That's what it means to score in the derby, but Wigan unable to build on that. An error from the kickoff, and ultimately the pressure paid off. Tara Jones with that finish in the corner, leaving the score at 14 points to 4 at the break. Well, today the Rugby League Cares team have set off on their toughest charity challenge yet. The Tour de Rugby League Cares. Over 6 grueling days, 16 riders from the world of rugby league will cycle from Biarritz on France's wild Atlantic coast to the Mediterranean beaches of Carnet en Roussillon near Perpignan. Tomorrow they'll be tackling one of cycling's toughest climbs, the infamous Col de Tourmalet, and you can follow all of their progress on social media. And for all the information you need on how to donate and support this fantastic cause, charity that does so much wonderful work in our game, rugbyleaguecares.org is the link that you need. So 14 points to 4 here at half-time at the Totally Wicked Stadium. St Helens in the lead, but all to play for in the second half.
Oh, that's a big one. He's powered over the man and scored! Oh, what a claim! And what a try! And the Super League season comes to its conclusion here tonight. It is 4 in a row.
Robinson! Is a moment for long. He's kicked it. A brilliant Morrow try.
And the Super League season comes to its conclusion here tonight. It is 4 in a row.
Robinson! Is a moment for long. He's kicked it. A brilliant Morrow try.
Oh, that's a big one. He's powered over the man and scored! Oh, what a claim! And what a try!
Well, welcome back to the Totally Wicked Stadium. St Helens versus Wigan in the Betfred Women's Super League. Beautifully poised at the break. Saints leading 14 points to 4. But Wigan, plenty of possession and chances in that first half, will feel like they are bang in this game. Caitlin Beavers alongside me. Caitlin, we're just speaking at the break. You're very impressed with what you've seen from Wigan so far.
Yeah, to say that Wigan is a developing squad and they've got loads of young talent coming through their academy and bringing into the first team, I think they've gelled pretty well, and you can tell what they're doing in training's coming off.
How important is this first 10-minute spell in this second half going to be? This is the chance, isn't it, for Wigan to really establish themselves in this game and make a real fist of this?
Yeah, we mentioned this in the first half. The first 10 minutes in any half, I think, is always crucial, especially in weather like this. You always need to get the front foot, and having a dominant first 10 minutes and a half definitely does that, and I think that's just what Wigan need going into this.
Saints certainly haven't had this all their way. It's not been easy, but they've just got so much experience, haven't they, in that side to turn to and just get them through the arm wrestle in the next 10-15 minutes of this. Yeah,
again, Saints have made a few silly errors as well, but they've got the experience and the older heads, as I say, to settle it down and bring it back. Whereas in the Wigan squad, as I mentioned, it's a pretty young squad. They've only got a few, I'd say, highly experienced players, so it may seem harder, but I think both teams are putting on an excellent show today.
I think we can assume that Leah Burke is not going to come back. She took an injury, unfortunately, in the first 5-6 minutes. How much could that come into play in the second half? Because they've moved Tara Jones onto that edge. brought Katie Mottershead in, and then you've basically got both of your hookers almost playing a full 80 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting choice to put Tara on at the centres, but I think she's done it before actually in a previous game, so they've got a lot of faith in Katie Mottershead to come on and make an impact and to do it for a fairly long period. I think losing Leah is a massive loss for Saints, and I think it showed with Wigan's try earlier. I think that would have been preventable from Leah, but I hope she's okay and I hope it's nothing too serious. Yeah,
we echo that. I hope that Leah's all right. Real star of the Betfred Women's Super League, a star of that England team as well. She lit up the World Cup last autumn. St Helens with a job to finish off here. 14 points to 4. They lead, and it is warm. There is a little bit of a breeze knocking around now, but it is very warm here. How much is fitness going to play a part in, especially the last 10-15 minutes of this game?
I think it's fitness mixed with desire. We talk a lot about mental fitness, and in these kind of games, derby games, they're the games that you want to play in, and to have that mental fitness to push on even when you do feel like you can't go anymore. I think it'll be interesting to see which team has that more than the other, but fitness will definitely play a big part in this second half, and it'll be interesting to see.
Oh, we saw that fantastic try from Grace Banks for Wigan in the first half. We've also seen Anna Davies making some good meters. Molly Jones has had a few kind of half breaks. Zahili at fullback has found a little bit of space. That seems to be, if Wigan are going to get themselves into this game and look to level things up on the scoreboard, that looks like where they're going to do it is those outside back positions. Yeah,
I think the outside backs have been phenomenal. The half breaks that are being made, I think they've got strength in Anna. They've got loads. The wings and the fullback. I think the feet and the skill that they have. I think it's making Saints question, and in this heat and under these circumstances in terms of being tired, I think it's definitely going to cause a bit of confusion, and that's what Wigan needs. So they need to carry on sending the backs in, having back sets and taking more pressure off the forwards. But I think if the backs can continue taking the balls on the full, I think the sets will be absolutely outstanding.
Well, great to see a really healthy, vocal crowd in over on that far side today. What a feast of rugby league they've had in this town this week. Of course, the men's derby, St Helens coming out on top on Friday night. The reserves in action yesterday, and this absolute belter live on the Sportsman. Betfred Women's Super League, St Helens 14, Wigan 4. In the second half, promises to be an absolute cracker. Perfect conditions for rugby league. Perfect summer sport for you. Kids are having a great time as well. Brilliant to see so many people engaging with the Women's Super League on afternoons like this, Katie.
Thinking about situations like this, it still leaves me a bit speechless. The fact that we're playing on a stage and practically building the foundations for the younger generations, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal that it's got to this point. Growing up, I only had the men to look up to, so you see a few little girls there. They'll be here and hoping to be part of this occasion one day.
When we look at rugby league as a sport, we build up St Sercy's Wigan and the whole derby, and in the women's game, Leeds versus York. How important is it that we make these derbies real significant events in the women's game as much as it is any other part of rugby league?
Like you said, derbies have always been a big occasion. We need to start publicising. It's all got better as the years have gone on. The publicity we're receiving and just word of mouth, and the skill and the talent that's coming on show, and it's improving. And I think that the crowds are warranted, and I think it just needs to continue to grow. And I think the World Cup were a massive part of that.
Well, there's been some fantastic skill on show this afternoon. That Grace Banks try, I think we'll be watching back for a long time to come. Wigan back out on the field. Saints just making them wait, maybe just enjoying the shade. In fact, here come the home side. So here we go then, 40 more minutes to thrash out to decide this derby in the Betfred Women's Super League. St Helens with the advantage as we start the second half, 14 points to 4. But we've seen plenty of danger from the Wigan Warriors. And I'm sure the message at half-time will be for them: you're still in this, stick together, anything's possible.
Yeah, they're definitely not out of the game at this point at Wigan. I think that as long as they keep doing the basics right and keep turning Saints over in their half, I think that they can't go far wrong. They just need to keep persistent and carry on doing what they're doing.
So the referee and the touch judges back out as well. It's going to be Faye Gaskin getting proceedings back underway. A really interesting second 40 minutes of this game on the cards here. So Gaskin gets the second half underway. Not taken cleanly, but Wigan will clean up and get first go with the football. And Anna Davies, we mentioned her plenty of times in that first half. Straight up to take the first carry.
Oh, wow.
And she's got herself free here. In the end, the covering defence from Mottershead really good. But just for a second, it all just opened up for Anna Davies a little bit. And a really strong start to the second half for Wigan, Caitlin.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed. And we've mentioned Anna plenty of times in this game. And things like that can be game-changing moments. They just need to carry on the way that they're going. And the jigsaw will all go into place.
Well, Lucy Johnson following up with a strong carry. Emma Dwyer at hooker. 6 again. She just keeps the ball under her arm, gets her head down and makes some useful yards. And now they come out to the left.
This is great for Wigan. Getting more possession and more runs in their half, I think.
Exactly the start that Chris Ratcliffe would have wanted from his side. And it gets even better. Saints offside. And just moments into this first half, Wigan find themselves 10 metres out from the St Helens line. What a big opportunity this is.
Just preventable errors, really. I think that just shows that what the heat's doing to people.
Well, Dwyer underneath the sticks goes for the short ball. St Helens defence holds firm. And now they look over to the left-hand side. Marsh. Greenfield met really well, but she gets the offload away. Oh, and then the error.
Unfortunate error there.
And a real shame that for Wigan, because what a start to the first half they'd had, second half, sorry, that they'd had an opportunity to get some more points on the board, but they come up with the error and Saints survive.
Yeah, Saints' defence there were good. Good read by Faye. Just unlucky that Wigan couldn't utilise the opportunity.
So St Helens then with the job of starting in the right underneath their own sticks. And Rads will take the carry, and just a turn of the hips, found the space, got through.
Good read and good speed on show from a second rower. That's just what they needed to start the set, coming out of their own 10.
Naomi Williams getting herself through the line, finding her front. Wigan do well to slow the tackle down in the end. But St Helens, with some early momentum in this set, found themselves under duress on their own line early on in the second half, but they've recovered. Now they'll look to get themselves back on top in this game.
Time off free.
We've just got to play her down.
Tackle free.
Physios are on.
Take your time. You can let go of the ball.
Let's have a look at what happens here.
At least the pitch is a bit better.
Nothing too much, is it? I just think it's the way that.
That was awful.
I think it's Megan Williams is brought down.
Yeah, there's no malice in the tackle.
So God knows how you felt after that game.
Hope she's okay, and it's just a stinger.
Well, she looks all right. She's back up on her feet. Thumbs up from the doctor. I think she is going to come off. Just precautionary, maybe. Pointing. Looks like a collarbone, perhaps. So on comes Shona Hoyle. Not a bad replacement to be able to roll on.
No, Megan Williams, I think she's made quite a statement coming on. I think she's been a really good substitute in the first half, and it's unfortunate that she's had to come off due to injury, and hope it's nothing serious.
Well, I thought that it looked like she was going to be okay there. I thought there was a thumbs up. towards the sideline, but she's coming off, and injuries may come into play late on this game. Leah Burke going off early. Williams now off. I'm not sure if she'll return or not, and all of a sudden Saints just down to potentially 2 interchanges.
Which in this weather isn't what your team wants.
Oh, but Gaskin puts the kick up, and the error comes from Caitlin Hilton. And St Helens now with an opportunity to push their lead out. Fantastic field position, and we've mentioned that kicking game from Faye Gaskin throughout the first half. It was on full display there. Very, very clever with the boot.
Yeah, an uncharacteristic error there from the back. I think it's Gabrielle Lee. I think, like we've talked about plenty of times in this game, the back three have been influential, and it's just unfortunate that time it didn't come off.
So Harris comes out to the left. There's space over on this side. I think she's going to be in here. She is. St Helens. Well, they didn't need much, did they?
No, I think putting Tara in at centre, it's great having a centre that can ship that ball out to the wing and build beautiful tries like that. They'll be very happy.
Fantastic finish from Lucy McComb. She got herself into the space, kept herself low, made sure that she got in at the corner. And Wigan will be ruining the missed opportunities they had at the beginning of this half, because all of a sudden they find themselves back underneath their own sticks. Lucy McComb, as he said, going over for the try. And St Helens will be very pleased with the work that they did defensively early on in this half. And they're making the most of an error.
Oh.
Just about gets it down, I think. There's some tough decisions to make, haven't they, the officials today?
Questionable, that one.
Very easy for us to sit here with our monitor and replays. They don't get the luxury of that down there. Be interesting to see that again. But it's 4 points on the board. 4 points to become 6. A brilliant conversion from Amy Taylor.
Fantastic kick.
And what a real important spell of the game that could turn out to be.
Yeah, I think that try just came off simple skill, simple but effective, and that's what Saints have in abundance. Like I've mentioned previously, the skill that they have to just be able to. Most players, practically all players, including the very powerful forwards, have the skill and ability to be able to ship a pass out wide. So, just something as simple as that can cause a lot of trouble for the other team.
So the job gets a little bit tougher for Wigan. The lead stretches out.
Stay behind, girls.
Energy sapping heat here today at the Totally Wicked Stadium.
Stay behind, girls.
And the Warriors will get us back underway.
Wigan needs to make a statement here and either gain possession back or keep them in their own half.
Well, it's a short, low kick from Lucy Johnson.
Great run.
Picked up by Zoe Harris, but as you say, the Wigan defence does really well stop the fast play of the ball. Shona Hoyle, though, with a big carry. She finds her front, but again, the Wigan defence do well around the ruck to just keep St Helens on the floor for now. But Paige Travis, again with that hip drop, just finding a little bit of space and stepping through. And an ominous start to this set then from Saints as they come out to the left-hand side. Gaskin shapes the drop off, keeps hold of it herself. She brings it up to halfway, gets the offload away to Williams. Saints with numbers off his left if they can use them. Rose just keeps the ball in hand in the end. Cover tackle came in from Wigan. The Saints marched them up the field.
I think you just, wow.
Big carry.
Vicky Whitfield doing what she does best, causing havoc.
And now they come over to the right-hand side. Harris drops it off. Partington.
Hand over.
Cut down, and that was the last tackle.
Saints will be happy turning it over in Wigan's 15. I'm sure they'll get a big message on to work hard in defence now and keep them down here.
So Wigan starting this set deep inside their own half. And it's Anna Davies. She's gone over to the opposite edge to take this carry. Really important role she's played for them today in getting them out of yardage and getting them out of their own real estate early on in sets.
That's what you need from your back five, to go to the other side of the pitch to make those kind of carries, because especially in this kind of heat, your forwards need a break and they'll be thanking you a lot.
So Wigan looking to find some space. Worked in the first half, didn't it, for Grace Banks? Saints will be very wary of what she can do after that early try. She's cut down there. And now they come over to the left. Harris Marsh looks like she's playing in the halves now with the introduction of Emma Dwyer into hooker, and this is the last tackle. So Dwyer out to Greenfield. Greenfield puts ball in the air.
Decent kick.
Good kick. Zoe Harris able to let it bounce and take it in.
Oh, a reverse.
And now Rotherham coming back on the reverse line. Cut down on the 36-metre line. Jones out of dummy half to Rudge. Good carry from Rudge, finds a front just short of the halfway line, but again, Wigan controlling the tackle, controlling the ruck on the floor. And Paige Travis takes it over the halfway line for Saints.
Referee letting the game play a lot here, and I think it's crucial in these kind of games. You want a rolling game.
What a carry that is! What a carry that is from Shona Hoyle. She's picked that line from a mile out, absolutely steaming onto the ball.
Fantastic run.
And now they come over to the left. Harris,
Plenty
Gaskin.
of share.
They come wide. Jones in that makeshift centre position. Looks for Lucy McComb. Brilliant defence. Brilliant cover in defence from Wigan. And McComb just run out of space to cover. And the chance goes begging for St Helens. But what about that from Shona Hoyle? Just bursting onto that ball through the line. Wigan's defence getting back in the end, but she is such a weapon, isn't she, when she's running onto the ball like that?
Yeah, and we talk about experienced players. Shona's definitely one of them, and doing runs like that will definitely pick a team up.
Wait, girls. Wait, go.
So Wigan starting with possession. 10 metres from their own line. Anna Davies again. Doing the hard graft in yardage. She's been very, very busy this afternoon. Fantastic performance from her.
I'd love to see the carry count from the backs for Wigan. I think they're doing a fantastic job of getting in and taking some of that pressure off the forwards.
Well, it's always useful when you've got outside backs that are happy to do that kind of work and can do that kind of work, but especially when, as we've mentioned, it is so warm. Any opportunity for the forwards to preserve a bit of energy, very welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dwyer how to play the ball. To Greenfield. They look over to this left down edge. That Saints defensive line up very quickly, shuts it down, and this is the 5th tackle. So Greenfield puts the ball into the air. Harris again happy to let it bounce. Brings it in safely. Shapes to the pass. Dummy again. A few times now we've seen it. It's been a very successful ploy for her this afternoon. Lucy McComb.
What a fantastic carry.
Does really well to get her side on the front foot.
Wait, take a step.
But again, I've been really impressed with Wigan in the ruck and the tackle control they've shown this afternoon.
Yeah, in these games, and I think with how the referees controlling the game, I think that they're just trying to get away with it as much as they can, and it's working. If it works for them, slows the play the ball down, they're not going to be as tired, and they can do that.
Oh, brilliant. It's Travis who's through. A wonderfully timed pass from Gaskin. So Healy does really well in the end at full-back to shut that move down, but Saints with their tails up 10 metres short of the Wigan line. And they come over to this right-hand side. Gaskin to Harris. Partington straightens up and scores. And that could be the try that just proves one hurdle too many for Wigan to overcome. but really, really good work through the hands from St Helens.
I think we could see that coming, the amount of breaks and quick play of the balls that Saints were getting, and I think Wigan just couldn't handle it in the end, and Ebony finished a great try in the corner.
We talked at half-time about how the experience and skill of especially of these England internationals could come into play, and 2 massive carries, one from Shona Hoyle a couple of sets ago, and then that from Paige Travis, getting St Helens on the front foot. And Ebony Partington, the newest of those England internationals, of course, made a debut against France a few weeks ago, finishing off. And Matty Smith will be very pleased with the work from his side in the last 5 or 10 minutes of this game.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a shift in the way that Saints are attacking. I think they're more direct, and they're getting the joy that they want from it, clearly.
What an opportunity then for Amy Taylor to push the lead out further with the boot. And she obliges. 2 fantastic kicks from her in the second half. And Saints move into a 26 points to 4 lead. And a second half that started with so much promise for Wigan. It's been all about St Helens since then.
I said this last week, I think Amy Taylor's conversions are absolutely the great, and from such a young head as well. I think it's something that the team will definitely rely on further down the line in the league fixtures.
And it's often, you know, almost a neglected skill in rugby league. We don't seem to talk about it as much as we perhaps should, but if you can add those extra 2 points on every time you get an opportunity, it makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're crucial. It can be a make or break, and it can be the margins of a win and a loss. So getting that skill under your belt and having it as dominant as she's been doing it the last few weeks, I think it's great.
So Saints looking to get on that front foot again.
Dealt with a great.
Be really interesting to see how Wigan respond to this now. Backs right up against the wall. Saints with the tails up. What have Wigan got left in the tank? Motter's head comes out to the right-hand side. Shona Hoyle again with the carry.
I'm impressed that both teams' line speeds haven't compromised just because of the weather.
Gaskin with that short pass. I think Hoyle's come up. Travis, sorry, has come up with the error. Just slightly too much on the ball, I think, from Gaskin. She looked to put Travis into that space with the flat pass. But a reprieve for Wigan, an opportunity for them to really get their hands on the ball for the first time in a while in this game.
Textbook read and a great tackle there by Becky Greenfield. I think Paige Travis has hit her a few times in this game, and maybe she just tried to get one back and she came off well.
So Wigan will have the scrum just inside their own half, centre of the field. We're about 15-16 minutes into this second half. St Helens well on top, but a chance perhaps for Wigan to claw something back in this game. But look at that defensive intensity from Saints.
And that's the reaction you need after an error.
Well, Jones been really impressed with the way that she's adapted to playing out of position since that injury to Leah Burke early on in the game. You wouldn't necessarily have picked her out as one of the players who is playing out of position.
No, playing on the edge isn't easy. It can feel quite neglected in terms of the read of play and reading the defence. But I think she's been absolutely phenomenal and putting her winger in for some beautiful runs and a great try.
So Wigan now looking to shift out to that left-hand side. The pass is just behind Sahili.
Because she's running forward.
And in fact, it's going to come back for a St Helens ball from the knock-on. And it has just been on occasions just those little bits of execution or lack of execution that's been the difference between these two sides.
Yeah, on 50.
Yeah, it's just an easy turnover of possession like that doesn't do Wigan the world of good, and they need to just try and work hard and get possession back and hopefully get back in Saints half, which I don't think they've done very often in this half just yet.
So scrum on the halfway line, just as we take a short break.
Just a quick 2-minute
Players to get some fluids on.
Yeah.
What will the honest appraisal be from Saints at this point? Because they came into this game obviously as comfortable favourites. We know what this season means to them. They're looking to bounce back from, I mean, it feels funny calling a season where they won the Challenge Cup disappointing, but ultimately when you've won the treble, only coming away from one trophy is a disappointment. Will they be pleased with this performance?
I think it's my ball.
I'm not sure whether they'll be ecstatic, but I think that there's definitely a lot of positives to take out of this game. I think the strength that they've had on show, I think, shows why they are one of the top teams in the league. I think that you've just got to look at the amount of experience that they have in this squad, and it's going to be hard for anybody to compete with. But I think they are missing Jodie slightly, but not dependent on her.
Well, we're just going to take a drinks break here. It is extremely warm. Luckily, we're up in the shade. Players don't have that luxury down there. So let's have a look at the action then from this second half. And this try from Lucy McComb in the corner. Got the ball rolling for Saints in this second period. And then this over on the right-hand side, just really nicely through the hands. And Ebony Partington.
Beautiful line.
Really nice line, and not much the winger could have done there in that scenario. Opportunity to attend to a few of the walking wounded. Cool down a little bit. You see the cold towels coming out. I suppose these are the days at the beginning of the season, Caitlin, when it's rain and you're training in snow and rain and hail and all sorts. You're probably dreaming for days like these.
Yeah, you are, and I think opportunities like this where you can take a water break and have a word with your team, and like the spine will go around and talk to people, and I think that's a really good part of doing these mini breaks. You've got to take advantage of them.
The referee calling the teams then back out into the middle. Quick chance to just lower the temperature a little bit. And Wigan in a huddle, just showing some real togetherness. Been under the cosh in this second half, but they haven't gone away yet, the Wigan Warriors. Some defending to do here. Saints will start with the ball 10 metres inside their own half. Really intrigued to see what the resolve is like from Wigan at this point. So scrum centre field to get us back underway.
Interesting that they've got Wigan's got the full back out the back in the scrum and not in the line, but they deal with whatever comes their way anyway.
Wait!
So what can St Helens do
Wait, don't take step.
with possession here?
All you have to do is look down the line. They've already got a shape set up, and now they know whatever comes their way, they've got multiple options on, and I think that's what's pipping Wigan today.
And that's where the versatility that we've spoken about comes into play, because every time they set up in shape, the combination of players and where they are in that shape is just, they're able to just change it slightly every time and really keep Wigan guessing. Raj looking to get the ball over the top.
Yeah, it's the versatility and it's the understanding and the experience from players, and that'll make a great difference to the game.
So Raj takes it in, that is the fifth. Moffa's head at dummy half. Comes out to the right-hand side to Gaskin. Gaskin puts that ball very high. She's done really well in the end. Healing, she's nearly through. In the end, the covering defence on that right edge, very good.
Go on.
But she did really well under that high ball. Wigan with the opportunity
Right side,
to just get some possession, something they've been starved of a lot in this second half so far. So they're up to the 40-metre line. It's Dwyer at dummy half.
Go first.
She comes to the left of Greenfield.
Starting to pull some shape now, Wigan. Oh, good line.
Stand now.
The defence was good as well, though.
Go for.
And now they come to the right. Marsh looked to shape for a long pass. In the end, made the decision to keep the ball in her hands. She's cut down on the halfway line, and that's the 5th. And not many yards at all made in that set. And in the end, it's a bit of a Hail Mary style kick. She bounces in front of Rotherham, but she will gather in the end and look to get her team up the field with this return. Just looked as if Wigan just fizzled out a little bit towards the end of that set, Caitlin.
Yeah, and I think it helps on Saints' side with the line speed. They've been so consistent with keeping the line speed, and it doesn't happen very often, especially in this heat. So it's going to be hard for Wigan to work with, especially as they're
strong carry.
Tired.
Move! Wait! Goal free.
I've been impressed with Emily Rudge in the second half on that left edge. Really busy, strong carries, bringing her edge into the line as well.
Again, usually goes unnoticed, but makes some great lines.
Outside.
Gaskin puts the kick in early in the set. Sahili wise to it, just about brings it in. Been impressed with her kick returns for fullback today.
Yeah, I think the speed that she has alongside with the wingers, it's definitely a dangerous combo, and if they can link up more like they did previously, I think it'll just be dangerous.
Another really aggressive carry from Davies from the ruck. She's getting plenty of attention there. The ref says play on. Wigan come over to the left-hand side.
Good leg drive.
Oh, and an error. Oh no, referee has given it as a ball steal. So a real gift for Wigan. 40 metres out, the opportunity to make some free yards here and get a repeat set. And really see if they can put this St Helens defensive line under any kind of stress.
Discipline, girls.
I think this is one of the first times that Wigan have been this close into St Helens try line in their half. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the Saints face up to this defensively. We said at the beginning of this game, this is the kind of environment where you want to do the least amount of defending possible. But they've got to do some here, and that's a really good start to the set from Wigan. Holly Speakman making big yards up the middle, and now they come over to the right-hand side. Marsh come out to the left. Oh, the pass was just slightly behind Grace Banks.
Good read by Tara, though.
Referee said the ball went backwards, so Wigan keep hold of possession for the time being. Jodie Morris shut down 15 metres away. They've got options left and right. They come to the left. Looks to go just up the middle on this occasion. This is the last. They've got shape to the right-hand side. They come left. Greenfield, oh. She was almost thinking about the kick before she'd caught the ball. Comes up with the error. Disappointing into the set. But not a bad position to turn the ball over, Caitlin.
Yeah, it is, and on the flip side, so all you've got to do is look at that line speed by Saints. They knew where the threat was, and they needed to shut it down, and I think that's a big reason why, unfortunately, Becky couldn't handle that.
And we've spoken on a couple of times about the things that are just making the difference between Saints, who are very much an established top-of-the-table side, and Wigan, who are a team definitely in development. A lot of players coming through that academy. And one of those areas for me has been the end of sets, that fifth tackle option. Saints have been very organised a lot of the time. Gaskin controlling things. Wigan perhaps have just lacked that bit of clarity on fifth play sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that they've got Saints have got multiple people that are able to do that last tackle kick. And I think that Wigan are always looking for the same people, so maybe that's something to look into further down the line and make sure that those kicks get to who they need to get to.
What a decent defensive effort in response to that from Wigan. Restricting the metres in this set for Saints. And now Mottershead brings them out to the right-hand side.
You can just constantly see Faye organising their line and making sure that they're getting flat, ready for the kick.
So Gaskin comes out the back to Zoe Harris, who puts the ball up in the air. Not an easy one, sorry, to take, but she does well.
Carries well.
It's Ely, as she has done all game. Good carry, put on her back. But she gets to play the ball under her foot, underway.
An experienced fullback there, Zoe was marker, and Rebecca Rotherham came round the back to make sure that no danger came their way.
So Wigan coming back on the inside. Done it a few times today, he's had a bit of joy. Jodie Morris then shut down middle of the park, at 30 metres away from that Saints line. Greenfield comes out to the left. And again, that Saints line speed just giving no quarter to that Wigan attacking play. Now they come to the right. Marsh, keep it in the middle. Morris again. A couple of carries in this set for her. This is the last. What can Wigan produce? They come out to the right-hand side. Marsh. Now they decide to play it. Sahili, I think she's lost the ball in the tackle. She looks uncomfortable as well.
Oh,
big
no.
hit that's gone in from Taylor, I think it was. She looks in some distress down there. It was Taylor and Jones, wasn't it? In the tackle. Barry Sahili receiving some treatment. An opportunity for both sides then to take a breather.
Seeing a bit of movement, that's very positive.
"15 minutes or so then left in this game. Saints with a comfortable lead. If you're Wigan at this stage, what are you looking to get out of this in the final 15 minutes?
I think they need to keep this now. They need to keep Saints at no points now for the duration of the game. I think they just need to not concede, and I think if they manage to do that, then like I've mentioned previously, they've got loads to take out of this performance, and I'm very impressed by the young talent that's on show.
Just where the ball is, eh? Sweet.
And from a St Helens perspective, only their second home game of the season. It must feel, you know, like a step in the right direction for them. Performance-wise, they've not always been as sharp as we've perhaps seen them, but as you've mentioned, missing, you know, a couple of important players, and I think they'll be reasonably pleased with the work they've put in this afternoon.
I think they'll be very pleased with the amount of players that you see that are injured, and the mix about in positions that they've had to cope with, and the players that have had to move positions, I think, has done a fantastic job. So, yeah, they'll have loads of positives to take out of this performance too.
And obviously Saints missing Jodie Cunningham. They've come into this season without Amy Hardcastle, of course, who's moved to now one of your teammates at Leeds. She was a big part of that side. It's an interesting time across the Women's Super League because the World Cup provided so much exposure, which has seen a number of players move across to Australia. So there's a few teams that are just having to reshuffle and get used to players not being there that have been for a long time.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've lost two phenomenal players to the NRL, and I'm absolutely buzzing for them. It's a massive opportunity that they'd be stupid to turn down, and they seem to be tearing it up already in what is their pre-season. So, yeah, I think that's caused a bit of disruption, and thankfully we've gained Amy from Saints, and she did incredible work for the club, especially in times against us. So, yeah, I'm definitely glad that she's on my team now.
So Harris putting the ball up in the air on fifth tackle. That's going to bounce awkwardly over everyone's head. It's going to come back on the Saints side. Lucy McCollum with some work to do. She can't. Can she get that offload away? She's looking for it. I think the Wigan defence has done enough. Oh no, she does get that arm away.
Hand over.
But Saints will regain possession.
Hand over there goes, yeah.
Wigan will regain possession. Apologies. And 25 metres out from their own line. As we've said so many times this afternoon, it's Anna Davies who gets the set underway, and another characteristically really strong carry.
Wait, go on.
Yeah, and Saints have obviously noticed that Anna likes a quick play of the ball, so they prevented that from happening, and they've definitely got the line set ready for the next carry.
And like you say, players moving out to the NRL, an opportunity too good to turn down. But how good is it to see the amount of players that are coming through these academy systems? We're going to have a whole host of them out there today, and a lot of these St Helens girls have now come through their under-19 system as well.
Yeah, it's great that the clubs are actually managing to do this at this stage in the season. It wasn't long ago where most clubs didn't have academy systems, and Leeds ourselves, we pride ourselves on ours. I think in the grand final they're only a handful that were original players, so just shows how much it benefits a club having having an academy system.
Well, another break in the game. I think it's Morris that's receiving treatment down there. It's been a real tough, bruising encounter, this one, as you'd expect whenever St Helens and Wigan play. Just that extra little bit of spice involved.
I called that far too early. That was my
It was a
fault.
great read by Hoyle, and unfortunately she's come off worse.
Nah. It's right there.
So 13 minutes or so left in this game. Of course, that clock on your screen is just a guide. It's not the official game clock. It's never usually that far off, so somewhere around the 12.5-minute mark left. St Helens in control at this point, 26 points to 4. Feels like we've just hit a little bit of a lull in the last couple of minutes, a couple of breaks for injuries. Looks like Morris is back up, sat up at least, which is a good sign. We hope she's okay.
How long have you got in yours?
No point rushing these things, of course.
Oh, there we go.
Player welfare absolutely a priority in these situations, and sapping conditions here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. I think it's been really impressive, the level of intensity that has been maintained right until this point, Kate.
10 or 20? 20.
Every right to be. The players have every right to be tired. They've played a fantastic game of rugby today and it put on a great spectacle for the sport. I think you looked over at the Wigan side just then, and they had the experienced player of Vicky Molyneux making those statements and trying to rev up the camp for the rest of the game. So Saints just having their words and making sure they're just tipping each other up on everything that needs to be said.
So Jodie Morris back up on her feet. Fantastic to see. Great reception from her from both sides of the fence.
That's what you love to see, showing her making sure she's okay.
She looks a little bit groggy, walking over to this sideline a little bit gingerly. She's been involved in some real firefights in the middle of the park today. Not easy playing in the middles, especially when you've got the likes of Shona Hoyle, Pip Birchall running at you all afternoon. So Saints regain possession from the scrum. Gaskin brings it out to the right-hand side. Harris thought about going out wide to Partington, kept the ball in her hand. Plenty of tackles in their pocket, of course. Now they do come to the right with Partington looking to put that defence under some stress. But straight away, Caitlin, look at the shape that St Helens have set up with leading to this left-hand edge.
Yeah, and that, like we said, it exposes danger, and
here we go.
Everybody's good at shifting the ball.
Well, Paige Travis was running out of space pretty quickly there. She got the offload back on the inside. Ball's gone to ground.
Touched by Wigan.
It's come off a Wigan hand, so I think Saints are going to get a repeat set here.
So 20 to play the ball, because you're waiting to touch. So play the ball.
And Faye Gaskin, we mentioned that horrible injury that she got in that cup final a few years ago, returning to action this year. I've been really impressed with her today. She's been so vocal and so key in keeping this Saints line organised.
It's great having a halfback that really keeps the structure of the team and of the attack, and that just comes from experience. She's been playing the game for so long and so many international caps that it's very natural of her to take that kind of role, and I bet Saints are buzzing to have her back.
Well, Rudge stopped just short of the line. Now they come over to the right. Gaskin again with that drop-off pass.
Did well to deal with that, did Wigan.
Threat all over the field. St Helens. Gaskin, really nice wide pass. Harris gives it to Partington. Partington trying to engineer some space, but that Wigan defence really impressive over on that far side. Still tackles in hand though for Saints. Harris, Williams. She brings it up inside the 10-metre line. This is fifth. Jones front play the ball to go out the back to Amy Taylor. Really good kick. And the defence is excellent in the end.
That comes from the desire, doesn't it?
Hannah Davies.
Wigan trying to keep them to nil in this last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, it would be some turnaround at this stage if Wigan were to do anything in this game in terms of the result. Plenty of pride to play for, of course. Playing for these clubs, you're absolutely not allowed to down tools in any game, let alone this one. And Wigan can certainly be proud of the way that they've kept at it this afternoon against a very good St Helens side. Caitlin Hilton there making some good meters, coming back into the middle of the field, and they come out to the left-hand side now with Dwyer. Saints so impressive defensively. That'll be the biggest takeaway today, won't it, I think, for them?
Yeah, they've got so much strength and they're stopping any roll on that Wigan might have. Just look at that technique.
It was interesting talking to Matty Smith before this game. Says that he's learning all the time. It's as much a learning curve for him as it is the players, obviously involved with the men's team as well. But he'll be very pleased as a head coach with the defensive organisation that he's seen from his side today.
Okay.
And that makes a big, you know, we talk about this Saints team being established at the top. We talk about players coming and going. We sometimes underplay the difference that a change in head coach can make.
Yeah, we were fortunate at least to have Adam Cuthbertson for the first few years of the campaign, and I think having a player or an ex-player can massively help with the structure of the club, especially at the early stages, and someone that knows the game inside and out, played it at such a high standard. I bet he's got a lot to say, and the girls take everything on board.
So Rudge with the carry, just short of the 40-metre line. Jones will play it. Looks like Jones has slipped back into that hooking role now.
Go for.
And here she is, coming up the middle of the park, finding some space. Just wasn't quite the player on her shoulder to get the offload away, so she keeps hold of it. And plays it dead centre of the field, 20 metres out. Gaskin. Harris look to get the pass away. I think it's been knocked down. A really good defensive read, but it'll be back to zero. Saints with the opportunity to build another attacking set. Partington, she's looked really good, hasn't she, on that right-hand side? Really lively, busy afternoon from her.
Yeah, she's a pretty new addition in terms of the Super League. I think last year was one of her first seasons, and she's definitely made a name for herself, like you mentioned earlier, making a debut for England, and it's well deserved. I think the skill that she's put on show last season and this season has definitely defined the reasoning for her international selection.
Go.
Well, we're getting to that time of the game, Caitlin. I'm going to have to ask you to start thinking about your Betfred player of the match. I'll give you a few minutes to come up with an answer, and I'll come to you for that one.
Yeah, no problem.
15 minutes, 15 metres, sorry, from the line. Saints come up with a rare error. A reprieve for Wigan. And they're going to go back for the scrum. 10 metres or so from the Wigan line, and a few players starting to cramp up out there. Wigan have used all of their interchanges. So the players that are out there are going to have to see the job through.
And that's the problem that the Heat proposes, especially with the amount of injuries today. It's been quite unfortunate for both parties, but done well considering the Heat.
Yeah, it's been a really physical, bruising encounter, this one. Both teams fully committed to the cause.
I know. No, I had 12.
Player down.
Because even one of your players
receiving some treatment.
Like she must have stopped it.
From a Saints perspective.
Okay. Yeah.
Tara Jones, I think she's all right. And Wigan
ball.
will get us underway. 10 metres out underneath their own sticks. And that is where they have had a lot of the football this afternoon. Saints have done a really good job of kind of pinning them in corners and keeping them at their own end of the field.
Yeah, I think that comes with the kick selection that Saints have. They've got a lot of power behind those kicks, and can be putting them into those corners and making making Wigan get out, and there's only one direction to go, so it's easier to defend.
What's it, Healy? She's been lively all afternoon. She's still at it. That's Caitlin Hilton making that carry. Not many metres to be had early on in this set. Anna Davies puts that right, but then she comes up with the error. And really the only blotch on her copybook, and Saints immediately on the attack. Zoe Harris chopped down, 15 metres short. St Helens with a golden opportunity to finish this game with a flourish. Jones at play the ball, comes out to the right, and there's an error. And I think you can just see the conditions and the intensity of this game starting to take its toll. Caitlin, errors starting to slip in on both sides.
Yeah, fatigue's starting to set in, and this is where teams just need to start thinking about going basic for a bit and regain a bit of possession and momentum. Wigan will be very happy with that error.
Well, I think it's Jones who's receiving some treatment again.
There's 4.5. Yeah, time's off it.
Oh no, it's Gaskin. Sorry.
Doesn't look in the best way.
No, she looks uncomfortable.
Just hold on to it.
We just hope that whatever that is, she's able to shake off. Well, Caitlin, whilst we've got break in the game, let's get your Betfred player of the match.
My player of the match will be going to Zoe Harris. I think her control from the back and just the threat that she's causing at all attacking players, I think, definitely shows the reasoning why the move's been made to put her at full back, and she's definitely made the position her own. So my man of the match is Zoe Harris.
Yeah, it was one of the first things we spoke about when the team sheets came out, was seeing Zoe Harris at 1, at full-back rather than in that her normal position, half-back. But completely agree with you, she's been outstanding this afternoon. Completely justified that selection move. Good to see as well, Faye Gaskin back on her feet. The player who's had horrendous luck with injuries, so good to see her shaking that knock off. Getting back in for the last 5 minutes or so of this game. So Wigan with the ball, coming up to the 30-metre line. You feel at this stage for them it will just all be about completion, won't it? And then looking to turn them around with that fist tackle kick.
Yeah, completion is going to be a big part of the rest of the game. I think, like we mentioned previously, just keeping the pride and keeping the determination to keep the scores as they are for both teams, for both parties. And I think that after that break, you can see a bit of an increase in effort.
Well, the kick comes in over the top, and player of the match, Zoe Harris, back to her own goal line to field it and then return. Met by that Wigan line.
All right, girls, wait.
St Helens, first time really in a long time in this game. It feels like we've seen them with the ball deep inside their own territory.
Yeah, that were a great kick by Wigan to keep Zoe in her own 20. I think that's one of the kicks that they've been needing for the majority of the game. Make Saints work hard to get out of their half.
Becky Rotherham just getting up gingerly, playing the ball. Oh, and an error.
Good tackle.
That might have been Whitfield.
But seems to come off worse for it.
Sorry?
Well, there's players cramping up left, right and centre now. I can only have a huge amount of respect for the effort and the intensity that this game has been played at in these kind of temperatures, but it is definitely taking its toll now. Rotherham down, looked like she's just receiving some treatment for some cramp. Molyneux as well.
As I mentioned before, the game in conditions like this, it's not just physical fatigue, it's hard to control mentally, and it's so hard to push on when you're in these kind of situations where you think that you haven't got much more to give. But I think both teams are definitely putting on a good show to see why we deserve this platform.
And it is worth mentioning, of course, that these players are not full-time professional athletes. You know, at the moment, the fantastic if and when it changes, but at the moment it is an amateur sport. Women's Rugby League in this country. How difficult is it to balance training, playing, your 9 to 5, but also the kind of extras, the maintaining that level of fitness that you need to be able to compete at this level all at the same time?
Look, it's so hard going from a full day at work and then going to training for 3+ hours on an evening. Like you said, we work full 9 to 5 jobs, most of us, some of us shifts, and they're not great, and most of us are so lucky.
Oh, there's an opportunity for Wigan over on the left-hand side, but the pass doesn't stick.
Most of us are fortunate enough that we've got jobs where they help us with our rugby, but sometimes it's not always the case.
So we're going to come back to the centre of the field for the scrum. Interesting, that ploy from Saints, with the option now to opt for where you take the scrum from. St Helens, more often than not, have asked for it to be in the middle of the field and have spread their options left and right. And there could be some space here for Lucifer Cole. Just about brings the ball in. Bit of a juggling act. Stopped her in her tracks in kind of the break, but the important thing was she kept possession. And now Paige Travis looking to get her side out from their own territory. Jones at play the ball. Rudge. St Helens coming back to the middle of the field.
That's the difference. St Helens are making the Wigan shift, and just for a forwards carry, they put it through 3 pair of hands, and that's definitely going to tire Wigan.
And what a carry that is, up to the halfway line. So St Helens with a platform as they come out to the left. Gaskin, Travis, really good read. Anna Davies, she's been so impressive on that right-hand edge for Wigan all afternoon.
Overlap.
But there's some space here in her absence. Rudge back inside to Jones. Oh, it just doesn't stick. But I tell you what, the effort from Davies to cover back then, having just made the tackle. Next play, involved again. And some good meters from Caitlin Hilton. And that
there we are.
Will be that then. A really interesting, enthralling game of rugby league from minute 1 right to the end. St Helens, the victors this afternoon in the Betfred Women's Super League, 26 points to 4. They have won in this derby against Wigan. But a game that Wigan will feel they can take a huge amount out of against a very, very good and well-organised St Helens side.
Yeah, it's not the result that Wigan were after today, but like you said, so many positives to take out of this game with so many new and young, unexperienced players. They should be really proud of themselves going against former champions.
From a Saints perspective, 2 points in the league table, the all-important part of this, of course. There'll be some things in there that they'll want to sharpen up on, some little bits of execution that they'll feel that they can improve on. But a lot of the fundamentals of what they're trying to do, you could see, were very good.
Yeah, a lot of the time, well, we say defence wins games, and I think that they got that right. It were fantastic, the ruck control, but yeah, just silly errors.
Well, let's have a look then at the pick of the action from this Betfred Women's Super League clash.
Can I give this
5 try scorers, of course, for St Helens. Amy Taylor converting 3 of those. And this is the first one of the afternoon. A brilliant dummy, from Zoe Harris, coming into the line from fullback, and all her experience and skills just cut through.
Just so dangerous all throughout the game.
Betfred player of the match, of course. And then this, when you watch the beginning of these 2 tries, they're so similar in the way that they've set up. They go for the other option on this occasion, and it's Shona Hoyle. Brilliant line, leg speed, gets herself over.
Yeah, it makes it so hard for Wigan because of the multiple options and the threat that each option causes. It'll send any team wondering.
And then this, Wigan's only score of the game, but what a score it was. All the way from the back, coast to coast, in fact from behind their own goal line. Really nice work from Sahili to just get herself away from her own sticks. And then this from Grace Banks. The speed to get away from those St Helens defenders and get herself over the line. And at that point, you really felt that Wigan were in the game.
Yeah, just look how much it means to them, and I think that they need to take little stuff like that into the next few games, because that's a big positive, and so like it shows the togetherness within the squad.
And just before half-time, St Helens extending their lead. Tara Jones playing out of position for most of this game after the injury to Leah Burke. But they did really well on that left-hand edge to engineer the space to allow her to go over.
Great finish.
Zoe Harris almost playing multiple positions, really. And then this one at the beginning of the second half. Lucy McComb. And at that point, you just felt that St Helens had done enough. They'd put enough distance between them and Wigan to see this game through, and they have done.
Yeah, both teams have done exceptionally well today. If we're considering the conditions, never easy playing in type of heat.
We'll see that St Helens huddle being led by head coach Matty Smith. I'm sure he'll be pleased with plenty of what he saw today. I'm sure he'll have a book full of notes as well, or things to improve on. But it's a slightly different looking St Helens team to the one that we've seen dominate the women's game over the last few years. They'll be very pleased with the way that they've performed today. I thought Faye Gaskin outstanding. Zoe Harris, of course, player of the match. Very, very strong.
Across the board, I don't think anyone had an average game. I think Saints did what Saints do, and they should be very proud of the performance today.
I'm sure there'll be a few sore bodies in the morning after this one.
Oh, absolutely.
So St Helens 26, Wigan Warriors 4. We can go down pitch side now to get the thoughts of player of the match, Zoe Harris.
Zoe, congratulations on a player of the match performance. A really hot day today out there. How was it out there?
Thank you very much, and it was really hard, to be honest. I mean, that heat, it's hard at the best of times playing in normal weather, but when it's heat like that, it's really, really hard. But I think the girls come together, they work really hard for each other, and it was a good team performance altogether, so happy with that.
Thankful for a drinks break in the second half?
Definitely needed.
What pleased you the most about the team performance today against your local rivals?
I think, like you said, with it being so hot, it's one of them where you've got to dig in and you've got to work twice as hard for each other, and I think we all certainly did that today. Them little 1%ers help each other out, so I think everybody working in and putting that 1%, them 1%ers in, helped us massively, so definitely that's what the best one was about.
Yeah, I think the defence got it through in the end, didn't it? Yeah. Thanks for that, Zoe. I'll let you get back to celebrating with the team. Thank you. I'll just bring Chris in now, the Wigan coach. Chris, unlucky day today, pal. It was a warm one, like I said. Losing is never great, but when it's against your nearest and not so dearest, what positives can you take from that game today?
Loads of positives. We've come here and competed, and I think we've not done that for a couple of seasons in these sorts of clashes, and I think we've proved a few people wrong that we can be in the reckoning. It's just a few little things that we fix up and we can be right at it. I think the two things that let us down today, a little bit our line defence. That's what I'd asked at half time to improve that. We didn't do it in the first 10 of the second half, but the last 30 there was a definite improvement. Just more energy coming off our line in defence, in that sort of zone, and then what we do with the ball, we were a little bit clunky in attack, and that was the difference overall. I don't think Saints made that many errors, and we made some errors that we just core skill ones that we've just got to be better at, and we fix those up, and if we can do that in a hot day like this, where doing all that defence, if we can fix up our attack that little bit, then we'll be a real threat.
Yeah, well, I think the scoreline reflects against other Saints games. It's a lot closer this one compared to previous. Switching our attention to next week, the Challenge Cup, a home tie against the Huddersfield Giants, again live on the Sportsman. Do you approach that game any different with it being the Cup and it not being a local derby, or is it just same old Wigan?
Yeah, no, I've said it. There's no easy games, whether it's in Challenge Cup or Women's Super League 1. We just got to concentrate on us and fixing the things that we're not quite doing that well consistently. But yeah, it's a big occasion. It's going to be before the men's game, and we've got a bit of an event on in that sense. So it'll be a great day, and I think it'll be something special for the girls in that, and we'll be looking to get the result.
Thanks for joining us, Chris. Unlucky today. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Can you hear any of that? No.
Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Brilliant to be able to bring you Betfred Women's Super League action here on the Sportsman. Don't forget that we're back next weekend as well in the Betfred Women's Challenge Cup, bringing you Wigan Warriors against the Huddersfield Giants. It's an 11:30 kick-off, so a nice early start. And as ever, you can join us 6 o'clock Wednesday night for the Last Tackle, our weekly rugby league show. Be hearing from St Helens coach Matty Smith shortly. Saints, of course, with the 2 points in the bag this afternoon, with a 26-4 win against Wigan. And when you start to look at the top of the Betfred Women's Super League Group 1.
It's always said the way the team as a defence.
Okay, come this side.
Oh, sorry, yeah. We've got Matty now, whenever you're ready, Paul.
Just pop yourself this way.
Having more games like this will massively help in terms of building those clubs, such as Wigan, with so many unexperienced players. So playing against internationals and the kind of level that they want to get at will only improve their season.
So, 2 points in his pocket. We can go down and speak to Saints head coach Matty Smith.
Congratulations, Matty. Always good to get a win over the local rivals. What is the most pleasing part of that performance? Zoe mentioned it being the defence. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think you'd say that, wouldn't you? I think, it's the old saying, but defence kind of wins your games, and I thought we did everything we had to do, in that game on that respect. But we put some really good attacking play on as well. But let's give credit to Wigan as well. I think they dealt with a lot of our shape really well, and they was hard to break down there. So happy with the result. Loads to work on, but happy to get a win over Wigan.
Looking ahead to next week's game, quarter-finals of the Challenge Cup up against Warrington. How good would it be for yourself, the team, as well as the club as a whole, to be the first to be partaking in the Challenge Cup final at the iconic Wembley Stadium for the first time? Yeah,
that's the dream, isn't it? To play, at Wembley, and to play for this club. I think the girls have been really successful in that cup, over the past couple of years. But we can't get away. We can't get ahead of ourselves. We've got Warrington next week, who are, run us close in that first half last time we played them, and then there's the semi-final if we get through that. So we've got to take step by step, and we'll look to put in another 80-minute performance next week, and look at some of them, some stuff through them throughout the week, and looking to beat them. So it's it's interesting, but we want to get to Wembley. That's the goal, isn't it? To play at your international stadium, in front of all them people would be something great for these girls.
Excellent. Thanks, Matty. I'll let you get back to your team. Cheers. Thank you.
So Saints head coach Matty Smith leaving their second home game of the season with the job done, and the Saints and Wigan players at the end just making good use of the sprinkler system here at the totally wicked stadium. Been a wonderful afternoon of action from the Betfred Women's Super League. Just a reminder that you can follow the Tour de Rugby League Cares, a remarkable charity effort across France, raising money for a fantastic cause, across all of their social media. And for information on how to support that cause and donate, go to rugbyleaguecares.org. Caitlin, been an absolute pleasure spending the afternoon with you watching this game. When can we hope to see you back in action?
I'm hoping only for a couple more weeks, so fingers crossed I'll be back before I know it.
Well, it'll be great to see you back out there. Don't forget, you can join us next week for more live action here on the Sportsman. It'll be Betfred Women's Challenge Cup quarter-final action. We'll see the Wigan Warriors again against the Huddersfield Giants. But until then, you can keep up to all the latest news of Rugby League here on the Sportsman, and of course, the Last Tackle, 6 o'clock Wednesday night. We'll see you very soon.
big one.